A lot of poetry comes out of the imagination, and that's great. I confess that a certain amount of mine comes out of stuff that's real. This one is one of those, and it has to do with discovering at age 55 what my DNA actually says. It's called Indian in the Mirror. I have broken a string of blood-red beads that until recently I did not know existed. There, inside the Y-chromosomes in every cell in my body, is the legacy of 525 generations of fathers in North America. I stared deeply into the mirror one night and heard the Indian on the other side speak. He said, "It is a very white hand. That is what comes from mating with 15 successive generations of white women. You should not be surprised that I sound like you. I am you, or at least this much of you. And you are all that is left of me. I am the Y chromosome in every cell in your body. I am your line of fathers stretching back across this continent for 525 generations. I am Okewas of the Appammatuck tribe, of the Powhatan Confederacy of Tribes, or what the white parts of you now call a Native American. As a young man, I stood on the shores of the river and watched the Englishmen arrive. They built a stronghold that they called Jamestown, and I ignored them for 15 years. But I could not ignore them completely. They had these little glass blue beads that looked like the sky, and there was something inside of me that wanted them. In my own tribe, I was a storyteller, and I did not feel that my stories of deer, fish, and forest would be complete without a representation of the sky. There were also metal hatchet heads and brass pots for cooking. I found all of these things attractive and was even willing to brave the smell of the white man to get them. I became a messenger and a hunter for the white man, moving in and out of their camps. When they thought that they had discovered gold, the white men did not plant corn nor hunt. I brought them meat and returned to my village with little blue glass beads. One day, there was the Sizemore woman. She had come from England with 200 other women to make brides for the farmers of Jamestown. She was there on a farm in the summer of 1621 across the river from my tribe with a man who left her to go search for gold. I knew that she was alone. I had seen her hanging clothes out to dry in the sun. I watched as sweat ran down her neck and chest and stretched across her forehead like a glistening band. I could see the blue of her eyes running deeper and clearer than any glass beads. Little blue glass beads no longer seemed so important to me, nor hatchet heads or brass kettles. There was only that look in her eyes, as if the entire world had abandoned her. In the late afternoon, I was lucky enough to kill a rabbit and brought it to her in the Sizemore farm. My words of English were few, but there was enough. She invited me in by making a gesture about the drinking of water. I came inside. It was in the preparation of the rabbit for cooking that it happened. I skinned the rabbit on the table and I was reaching in to pull out its guts. She began to run her hands across the rabbit's fur and then reached down inside the rabbit with both of her hands to join mine. I looked up at her to see that her blue eyes were wet like a river, red around the edges and flickering with the light of the fire inside the dark cabin. She drew out my hands from inside the rabbit and placed them, blood and all, onto her breasts. She leaned back into the sturdy table and fell upon her with great passion. I fell upon her with great passion. The creation of the new world worked two ways. For her, I was the new world. From my eyes, she was the new world of the future that had come across the water to me. I remember that she closed her eyes and emitted a sound that I cannot describe, even today, with your brain to power me. I remember that we later cooked the rabbit on a spit and took our time eating it. What does it matter that I returned many times that summer? What does it matter that she grew bulbous with child? The following spring, our leader, Appammatuck, chief of the Powhatan tribes, decided to massacre all of the white people in Jamestown. I could not participate in his plan, and his plan failed. All of that is a matter of history. I was a brave and I understood the importance of defenses against enemies, but I could not see the good in going to kill others. What mattered to me was that Martha, I can say that name now, Martha, I couldn't then, was forever on the other side of the divide. I never saw the male child that she bore. I faded away. My people faded away. What was left was the simple Y-chromosome, handed down from father to son again, of men who had been told nothing other than that they were white men. I just want you to know that we are here, and 525 generations strong. I know that the last 400 years have been filled with ignorance and Europeans. I just want you to know that of your 32,768 ancestors at my level, only one gave you your Y chromosome. That was me, Okewas, and my line of ancestors walking across the Bering Strait and straight into your living room. Yes, it is a very white hand. A very white hand indeed. That was what becomes of mating with 15 successive generations of white women. As you go to mate with the 16th generation of white women, remember me. Remember me. Remember me.